hello, everyone. I am Zakiya Monique, Master Relationship Strategist, transformational speaker, bestselling author of Killer Connections, and um, I'm also the founder of the Safe Space. The Safe Space, which is a place where leaders, I'm recultivating the place for leaders. So if you're a leader in the community, in the ministry, in your home, wherever you feel that you're a leader, you can come heal, grow, learn, love, lament, laugh, everything. You can come and sit with warriors and be vulnerable and still be seen as a warrior when you get up. If that's something that interests you, you can come onto the Safe Space at www.zmsafespace.com. And that's where you'll be the first to get the announcement to know how we're going to be recultivating this thing. So out of the way, I want to, give a few disclaimers before we start. Okay. And this is going to be pretty good because I like this content myself. But here's the thing. I want to give you a couple of disclaimers. And if I'm looking down, it's because I'm trying to stay on track because it's a little late and I want to stick to my notes. So first of all, let me give you a few disclaimers. Number one, celebrities are just like us. So this is not all about bashing either side, but more about how we can learn from this, okay? So we're not trying to bash nobody. We're trying to actually learn from this, okay? I believe that every now and then God give us the opportunity to have what we call cheap lessons, right? And so this is one of those lessons. This is a cheap lesson. This is a lesson where we can learn from other people and what they go through. So we're not bashing, okay? That's not what I get down and do. That's not what I want to do. When people live out loud, it's easy for us to judge them as if we haven't done the same thing, okay? Let us be clear. Some of us have spent a whole bunch of time with some folks that didn't deserve none of our time, if we just want to be honest. Some of us have spent some time with some people who didn't deserve any of our time. So we can't clown Chrissy for hoping that Jim would get it together. Chrissy, if you're watching this, sis, you're not alone, okay? So that's number one. So if you think we getting ready to bash this ain't that, we're going to learn from these dynamics. So we're not going to make this so much about Jim, Chrissy, and Brooke. They're just characters in our live stream, okay? And this ain't about Jim music or none of them acting because I don't care to, nor am I qualified to discuss any of that. I don't care nothing about that, okay? Number three, it's okay if you disagree. Remember, our daily objective every day is not to be bothered by the fact that what bothers you don't bother others. Y'all like that? That's an original quote. Don't be bothered by the fact that what bothers you don't bother others. We always talk about we unbothered, but boy, we are some of the most bothered, unbothered people I know. But I'm going to move on. Number four, you will notice that I will probably dig a little deeper into Jim's background than Chrissy's because I truly believe, and hey, this is where we can disagree, but I believe that men decide when it's time to marry. They decide who they want to marry. And women decide who they want to hunch on. Okay? Women decide when the hunching gonna happen. Men decide when the marriage gonna happen. Anybody believe? Anybody agree? Anybody comment? Let me know if you agree. I believe that the men decide on marriage, women decide on hunching. Okay? So we're gonna talk a little bit deeper. We're gonna dig a little deeper in his background. But we also need to look at his background so that we can decide, look at what may impact his behavior. Okay, we're looking at his background because that really kind of deciphers why his behavior is the way that it is. So we got a lot of moving parts. You might think it's just Chrissy and Jim went together. He just ain't want to marry her. That's not the only thing. Okay, that's just not the only thing. So we're going to talk about this. So this is not just about a man and a woman dating. Now that I've set the preface for that, what do we know? Y'all know how I roll. I got a criminal justice background too. So one of the things that I like to do is talk about what's factual. Okay. Before we get into any theory and all of that, what's factual? What do we know? I did a lot of research. Okay. I did a lot of research and found out a lot of stuff. Okay. So let's get started. What do we know? Well, first of all, Joseph Jones II. Okay. His name Joseph. Joseph Jones II was born in July of 76, which makes him 48 years old. Now, his mother, Nancy Jones, we know her as Mama Jones, was about 17 when she had him. So that makes her be born about 1959, and she's a baby boomer. Now, let me tell y'all something. As a relationship coach, one of the most valuable things that I learned is that we have to know who we're dealing with and what we're dealing with. If you're dealing with a baby boomer, they operate a different way. Right? Baby boomers operate differently. Like every generation operates differently. And so if you start expecting a baby boomer behavior from a millennial, you're going to be disappointed all the time. So Nancy, Mama Jones, is a baby boomer. Jim, Gen X. Okay. Now, Jim is the oldest of 7 with 6 sisters coming behind him. So he's the only boy, as far as I know. Okay. And I got this from his mama's website, his mama's book site or whatever. So he's the only son and he's the oldest child. Now, take a pause. Understand this. There's something different about that oldest child. The oldest child sees more than the other kids. They're like the guinea pig. Okay. So the oldest kids see more. They kind of grow up with the parent. Okay. So the parent is less of a parent and more of a sibling sometimes for that parent sometimes. Okay. And then sometimes the parent, the oldest child also helps to raise the other kids too, but we ain't gonna get into that. So he's the oldest and only son. He was raised by his maternal grandmother, which told me immediately before I even looked at anything else that there had to be some problems, because where your mama and daddy at? If your grandma raised you like mine did me, where your mom and daddy at? It's some level of trauma somewhere. Anytime you always at grandma's house. Why? Now, some people was always at grandma's house because their mama had 3 jobs. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you practically live with grandma. Grandma raising you. Where your mom at? Where your daddy at? Okay, so that told me right away. But then it said he didn't see his mother much but she lived close to them. He didn't see his mama much, but she lived close to them. So the next thing said Jim had to find his mother on or in the streets, including the crack houses. I want y'all to stay with me now. I'm building something. So he would go out to find his mother. He would go to find his mother. He would go and find his mother, and he would often find her in some places where he ain't had no business being, including crack houses. And he still calls his mother mommy. Most men don't call their mother mommy. And he often bends to and for her approval, even when she's wrong. So I want you to understand this. I'm building a case here because this is not just about, oh, Jim didn't like Chrissy. This ain't just about that. This is about deep level trauma. And the problem is many of us miss stuff like this. We miss these things because we don't see all of the facts. So included in his picture of his first example of love, because remember, his mother is his first example of love. So included in his picture of the first example of love is addiction, rejection, inconsistency, abandonment, irresponsibility, emotional and physical unavailability, brokenness, combativeness, and disorder. So his first example of love, which was his mother, gifted him these things: addiction, rejection, inconsistency, abandonment, irresponsibility, emotional and physical unavailability, brokenness, combativeness, and disorder. Okay. Now, y'all know I'm fair. I don't just down people. Since that time, she has become a businesswoman, a youth advocate, and a mentor. Established a clothing line, become an author to 2 relationship advice books. She got 2 songs, which one of them I think threw some shade at Chrissy, but okay. So later in life, resilience and optimism and some positive characteristics are now a part of his picture. But back in his impressionable years, those things weren't there. And sometimes the timing matters. Sometimes timing matters. So now let's move to Jim's father. Jim's father is not mentioned much. He passed on now, so I won't assume. But based on Jim's story, because his maternal grandmother raised him, that lets me know that his father was not a main staple in his environment. If the father's not a main staple in his environment, then guess what his first example of manhood gifted him? Abandonment, rejection, inconsistency, emotional and physical unavailability, and irresponsibility. You see where we're going with this? So Jim Jones' mother wasn't there, wasn't consistent. Jim Jones' father wasn't there, wasn't consistent. And then Jim Jones, the second, had a 1-year-old when he met Chrissy. Cycles, patterns. Now let's talk about Chrissy real quick. We're going to get to it. Just relax. Chrissy is 53 years old. Now, Jim is 48 years old. Chrissy is 53. So there's a little difference there, 5-year difference, right? Now, it's not much known about her background, but from her page, I went to her page and found her. This is what is said on her page, that she was, quote, separated from her parents and raised by her grandmother, end quote. Who does that sound like? Separated from her parents and raised by her grandmother. And that came from her bio. Now, separation of any kind, because she's very vague on what separation means. You know, people know how to dress stuff up. But separation of any kind leads to some level of trauma because it's rejection, abandonment, brokenness, disorder, right? Do that sound like anything? That sound like Jim's story, don't it? Why? Because even the most mature young mind is not established enough to process the absence without some level of offense. So in other words, at 7, at 12, your mind is not mature enough to say, my mother is addicted to drugs, not in love with this man. So these drugs make her go to that man. No, your 7 and 12-year-old mind, like me, I was a critical thinker as a child. So in my mind, I watched my mother love a man. So in my view, her love meter wasn't broke. Her love meter was not broke. When I was ages 7 through 12, I felt like, well, her love meter ain't broke because she loved him. But my 7 to 12-year-old mind didn't process the fact that he connected her to addiction. See, most women follow men to drugs. Most women follow men to drugs. And I didn't realize that that's what had happened with my mother. She don't mind me telling because my mother has been clean for, what is this? Almost 10 years. Wait, no, 10 years this year. I think she got 10 years this year. And so thank God, praise God. Okay, so she don't mind me, saying this. I'm not telling her story because I don't do that. But she don't mind me sharing that I, at 7 and 10 and 12 years old, in my mind, her love meter ain't broke because she loved him. I'm not realizing that he is her merge. He is her liaison. He is he's the reason why she on drugs. So even if she decide I don't want to be with him no more, he know how to get back in the doorway. Dope. But I was offended because my young mind never processed narcissism, trauma bonds, brokenness, or even addiction that they shared, which, like I said, was the gateway for him. My young mind didn't process that. What my young mind said was, it must be something about you that she don't like, because she don't have no problem loving nobody because she loved him. So I was offended because in my eyes, she just didn't love me, but she knew how to love, right? This is what we do to our children when we put things in their lap that are way too much for their minds to process. And then we make them sit in it or sit with it. Or we tell them what happens in my house stays in my house. Or we tell them, don't tell my business to nobody. Or you all right, it didn't kill you, it made you stronger. This is what happened when we expose our children to things that their minds are not ready to handle. Because sometimes our minds ain't even ready to handle them. This is what happens. So Chrissy over here with her grandma, her parents, she separated from her parents. Jim Jones over here with his grandma, his parents is out and about. Mama had, on drugs or whatever the situation is. They both with grandmas, and somewhere in life, they meet at a Miami nightclub in 2004. At this time, they were 33 and 28. She was 33, he was 28. And Chrissy was in some type of altercation. Pay attention. She was in some type of altercation. He came, stood in the middle, and tried to break it up. Now, if you hear her describe what happened, you know what she says? He saved me. He said, I ain't do no saving, but she said, he saved me. That's romanticizing. He broke up a fight, honey. He broke up a fight, or you know what I'm saying? But he was like, I ain't save you. But she was like, he saved me. I listened to the interview. I told you I did my research. I listened to the interview. Anyway, he stepped in, calmed the situation down, and she felt like, oh, he saved me. Now, understand, his mother once bragged about loving to fight. He met Chrissy doing what? Fighting. She was finna get busy. In the nightclub, finna get busy. Just like his mother loved to fight, right? Could it be that Jim saw his mother's raw, combative spirit in Chrissy? And because he yearned for his mother, Could it be that Jim, who is used to the overbearing mother, saw the same in Chrissy? Something to think about, right? Now, on an interview, Jim recalls how she was sweating him for sweating him for his number. And he said that multiple times. He's like, she was sweating me for my number. She was sweating me for my number. She never denied it. She just said, boy, yeah, she talked junk, but she never said, I didn't ask him for his number. He asked me for my number. No, she asked him for his number. Now, let's talk about the problem with that. I can believe that she asked him for his number because she also was the one who proposed 7 years later. I watched the 2012 interview, and listen, he was so disconnected and disengaged until they mentioned his clothing line, and then he came alive, which told me that he was so disengaged and so out of, like, didn't even care about nothing that they was talking about when it came to him and Christy. But as soon as they mentioned his clothing line, the vamp wear, he perked up and he stopped looking in his phone and all that. He was already checked out of the relationship. And this was around the time that she had proposed. Now, let me say this. We have to make sure that we are not the only one in marital bliss. We have to make sure we're not dealing with happy wife, happy life. No, it's happy spouse, happy house. If you're really in tune with your mate and you following him, you will know when there is a shift or when something is off. I have never been with someone. I knew. No, something off. How you following somebody and you don't know when they zigzag? Whoa. We zigzagging? I'm just saying. See, here's the thing. It is possible that he never pursued her. It's possible. He never. When did he? Somebody tell me, when did he pursue her? When they met, she asked for his number. She proposed to him. When did he ever show interest? Like that he was going to apply pressure? When? So it's possible that he never truly pursued her. He could have very well just did just enough, but he never truly pursued her. This is why I say, hence, shoot your shot, but do not empty the clip, because when you empty the clip, you don't know if they really into you or they just settling and going along for the ride until they find out who they really want. Yeah, you can, some women today are forward. They like, I shoot my shot. Shoot your shot, but don't empty the clip. Shoot your shot, then step back and see what he do. What we doing? Because a lot of women will shoot their shot, lead the relationship and all of that, and then say he's not romantic. He don't plan dates. He don't, baby girl, you taught him that he didn't have to do that. You taught him all he had to do was exist. All he had to do was show up for the Facebook picture. All he had to do was put on the matching pajamas. We're talking about Christy and Jim Jones. Okay, so men from my generation, did you hear me say men? Men from my generation like to pursue. See, this is why I said generations matter. Because see, the generation nowadays, some of them like little flowers and they like for you to run up behind them. They like princess treatment. I'm just saying. Some of the new age young guys like princess treatment. And here's the thing. Ain't nothing wrong with loving on your man. Ain't nothing wrong with loving on your man. Nothing at all. But my goodness, some of these guys want you to be mama and woman because they didn't have mama. Right? So now you got to be mama because they didn't have mama, grandmama, auntie. They didn't have none of that in this generation. See, in our generation, we had a village. So if mama dropped the ball, you had grandma, you had aunties, you had somebody. You know what I'm saying? But in this generation now, mama ain't there. Auntie like, don't bring them over here. Grandma like, I'm hanging out too. So nowadays, they just need to be mothered, loved on, all of that. And they kind of want a little extra. Okay? But in my generation, Generation X, they like to do the pursuing. That's not to say they don't want to be pursued or loved on too, but they like to do the pursuing. He never had a chance to really pursue her. They don't mind a little forward motion, but they like to do the pursuing. They like to do the proposing. They like to do the providing for the most part. And they like to do the protecting. Now, another issue with this is this relationship has been a three-way street for many, many years because Jim Jones' mother is very much involved in all that they do, discuss, or experience. She's the one who told the world that Chrissy couldn't have kids, if I'm not mistaken. She went on marriage boot camp with them. How you on marriage boot camp with your son and your daughter-in-law? How they introducing y'all as the Joneses? They can't even say Chrissy and Jim Jones. No, it's the Joneses because you there too. And then she was up in there telling all their business too. When they show his mother a picture of a wedding cake with 3 people on it, a woman, a man, and then another woman over here, she said, look how they got me dressed. Not, I shouldn't be on the cake. She was mad about the outfit they had her in on the cake. Now, Jim Jones has often found himself in the middle of the 2 women, which is very similar. They're very similar in nature. So you got feisty on this side, feisty on that side. You got disorder on this side, disorder on that side. They just alike in many ways. Not every way, but in any way. And so what he does is he just be high. He be zooted. He be sitting there like this. And he'll let them keep on going until he just can't take no more. And then he go off. And that's pretty much what he do. He just sit there and let them fight over him. And then he just eventually be like, man, chill. But he be high as a kite. Somebody said, I'm old school. I was raised to let the man do the pursuing. In my 51 years, I have yet to pursue a man. That's his job. And that's our generation. Our generation says, hey, I'll smile at you, but okay. That's why it's good to know the generations, because if you deal with Generation Z or Gen Y, some of them men want you to run up behind them. Gen X, baby boomers. My daddy's wife proposed to him. He did not answer her. He went, got a ring, and proposed to her, and that's when the wedding planning started. My daddy didn't play that. You will not. You will not. So you just got to know what generation. I'm not saying what's right or what's wrong, because nowadays women propose. Do what you do, sis. Me, baby, listen. They're talking about, oh, you'll grow old along with cats. No, I ain't finna grow old along with no cats. I'm gonna be whatever God need me to be. But listen here. What we ain't finna do is get down on one knee and ask no man to marry us. That's what we not gonna do. So that ain't in the cards. That ain't what God designed me to do. Now, if he designed you to do that, that's on you. But I'm like, and I don't even like cats. I don't like animals. That ain't my thing. I don't want to hurt no animal, but animals ain't my thing. So you ain't got, that ain't for me neither. I'm like, I travel the world by myself first before I get on my knee and ask a man to marry me. That's just not what I do. But if that's what you do, do that. If that's what works for you. All I say is, if you get on your knee and ask a man to marry you, and you set the tone for you being the one to be forward in the relationship and to lead the relationship, don't get mad when he's not the one who's planning dates. Don't get mad when he's following your lead and you ready for him to lead because you tired of lead. Don't get mad when you set the tone for something. Ride it out. Ride it out. You can't get mad halfway and then want him to take the lead. He like, no, that's not what we doing. It's not what we doing. Okay, so that's just what it is. Now, the whole thing is, like I said, Jim Jones often found himself in the middle. But let me say this: what a man loves, he protects. What a man loves, he protects. What a man loves, he protects. Jim Jones never protected their relationship from outsiders, including his mama. He never directed traffic because he should have told his mama, look, you over here and she over here. You my mama, you my woman, and that's it. We're not going to have no argument. But at the end of the day, listen, at the end of the day, you know your place and you know your place. Let me tell you something. If you know how to direct traffic as a man, you won't have a whole bunch of drama. It's the man that don't know how to direct traffic is the one that has issues. But I'm gonna tell you why Jim didn't direct traffic. I'm gonna tell you why. Hold tight. He's like, I'm gonna travel the world with it. Okay, that's me. I'm gonna travel the world. I ain't finna be bothered. You can get my nerve. Okay, so listen. What a man loves, he protects. Okay, he didn't direct traffic. He had no problem checking Chrissy, but he struggled to put his mother in her place. And let me tell you why. Quite possibly because he is still that young boy. Remember, he called her mommy. He still called her mommy. He's still that young boy that desires that place and space in her life, that validation that he needed back then. And mom is a bit overbearing. And basically, what she wants, she gonna get, right? That's called what? Emotional manipulation. Emotional incest. It's real. Emotional incest is real. It's that family member typically of the opposite sex, that will mess up all your relationships because they want to be center in your life. They want it to be just you and them chilling. So they will mess up all the relationships in your life because they really just want it to be you and them. Not in a sexual way, but they just want it to be you and them chilling. Because they know if you get a girlfriend, you're going to be with her a lot. So, no. Emotional manipulation, emotional incest. So every time he check his mama, she get mad, and guess what she do? She withdraw that love. I'm going to withdraw my love from you. That's manipulation. You make me mad, I withdraw my love from you. And because I know you desperately want that love. You desperately need that love. That little boy in you desperately needs it. So guess what? You make me mad, I withdraw that thing that I know you desperately need. Baby, all day long, all day strong, that's emotional manipulation. And when you out here messing up your brother, your cousin, your nephew, or whoever, if you out here messing up their relationships, emotional incest, because you want to be first in their life, emotional incest. And that's weird. I'm sorry. It's just weird to me. It's weird. It's weird. Because why you want to be the first in your... Listen, my fave is... my favorite cousin is a guy. Okay? Shout out to my fave. Okay? My fave got married. But my fave used to bring all of his girls to me. You know, he'll bring them to me and I'd be like, I don't like her. I'd be like, she ain't right. I would tell him like, she ain't right. But when he brought his wife to me, he called me. You know, he brought her to my house. I was cooking for the first of the year. He said, I want you to meet somebody. I said, okay. And so I was like, all right, cool. Well, I met his wife and then he called me and he said, what you think? I said, well, I think she a little, she a little stuck. She a little stuck, a little different. I said, but you know what? She got a good heart. I said, she got a good heart. And, that was that. Here's the thing. At no time did I ever say, I don't want him to be with her because I want him to still be available to talk to me. Like, what? Nothing in my mind said that I want to be center in his life. I want to call him from time to time, check on him, make sure he's good. He called me from time to time, check on me, make sure he, good. We go to each other functions or whatever. We catch up with each other, and nothing in my mind wants to be the center of his world. Something is off with you. You need some level of healing when your family member, it's your family member. It's your family member. This is Jim Jones' mother. That's your son, ma'am. You shouldn't be fighting his fiance, ma'am, girlfriend, whatever. Why you fighting her all the time? For your place. You mama. You gonna always be mama. Weird behavior, but that comes from brokenness. Brokenness. This is why we need to heal so that our children we don't pass down these cycles and this foolishness to our children. Okay? So let me tell you a few things that happen here, and then I'm going to wrap this up and we're going to be good. This is not an all-inclusive list, but this is just what I believe. Number one, they met at a time when she was ready to settle down, he was ready to turn up. Timing matters. Timing matters. They met at a time where she was ready to settle down. Remember, she's 33. So at 33, no kids, she like, all right, let's bring it on in. I'm ready to bring it on in. I'm ready to, and remember, women tend to, especially in our generation, tend to, be a little bit more mature than men. Okay. And so if that's the case, and she's already 5 years older than him, just imagine what the maturity level looks like, right? Especially if he's broken and dealing with all these issues, okay? And then she's broken too. So, you got to kind of push both of them back, but she's still advanced more so over him. So she's like, okay, let's settle down. He's like, no, let's turn it up. He done had a 1-year-old child or whatever. He got a 1-year-old child when they meet. He's like, I'm ready to turn up. Now, understand, he had just had a baby. She was ready to start a family. He like, hey, He was on the precipice of an executive position. So he had just got an executive position, and he was in the making of the biggest hit that he ever had, which was We Fly High, No Lie, and this ballin'. So he was when they met, he was on the cusp of making that. So he was at the height of his career. And she like, let's settle down. Let's not. Let's turn up. Okay. So they were in two very different places in their lives, and she was trying to kind of pull him to the level where she was. Like, come on over here. He like, no, I don't want to go over there. I want to stay over here. I love it here. Right? I love it here. You can't make a person be ready for what you ready for. You can't. I've learned that the hard way. You can't make a person be ready for. You can't even make them see the vision. You can't even make a person see the vision that you have of them. Like, I see greatness in you. If they don't see it, you can't make them see it. You can't make them see the greatness that you see in them. You can't make them see the plans that you have. You can't make them be ready for what you're ready for. You just can't. You got to move along. And if it's meant to be, they'll catch up or they won't. Okay. So number one, they met at a time where she was ready to settle down. He was ready to turn up. They were just on two different playing fields. Number two, she did the pursuing. She did the pursuing. She did the protecting of the relationship. That means she was fighting him and his mama. She was fighting him to do right, and she was fighting the mama to get out of their business. She did the providing of peace of mind because he ain't have to worry about her cheating on nobody. Cheating on him. She was at home waiting on him to get there, and he wasn't getting there. Like she said, he was coming in 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and she at home playing Molly the maid. We all done it at some point for somebody. Okay. She did the proposing when she was ready for marriage. So she did the pursuing, the protecting of the relationship, the providing the peace of mind for the home, and the proposing when she was ready for the marriage. You cannot take the lead and midway want to switch seats, because remember, you never allowed the circumstances to show you whether the person desired you to. Again, shoot your shot, but do not empty the clip, because then you will not know if that person wants you to, or if they just going along for the ride because they ain't got nothing else to do right now, or they ain't got nobody else to do right now. But as soon as they find somebody that they want to get up and move and apply pressure to, all of a sudden you on the back burner. They going after her because this is who I want. Whoa. Think about it. You checking for him for his number. Y'all get together. You're doing everything as a wife. You know, you're doing everything a wife does, and he doing everything he want to do. And you tolerate it under the guise of no one is perfect. That's all she kept saying. No one is perfect. And that's true. No one is perfect. But listen, you think he playing? You're not finna keep playing in my face. Again, you emptied the clip and never even checked to see if he had a strap of his own. You emptied your clip and never even seen if he had a strap of his own to protect y'all. Doggone it, if I empty my clip, I got to make sure your clip is full so you can empty yours next. Just saying. So number two, she did the pursuing, the protecting the relationship, the providing the peace of mind, and the proposing, which meant he was just kind of going along for the ride because it wasn't nothing else to do. I mean, it was some good benefits there, right? Number three, she did not require marriage. She demanded it. Total difference. She did not require marriage. She demanded it. Ladies, there's a difference between requiring marriage and demanding marriage. Total difference. When you carry yourself in such a way, you don't have to mention it. He just knows. And if he don't know, you know. I remember David Mann saying that, he had kids and Tamela didn't have no kids. Tamela didn't have children or nothing when he met her. And he said when he met her, he was playing with, a couple females. But he said when he met her, he just knew he couldn't play with her. She didn't have to explain nothing to him. The way you carry yourself, they already know. The way you love yourself, they already know. They can't play with you. So they make a decision. Either you're going to stay and do right or you're going to get on because you can't play with her. She's not going to let you. Ladies, sometimes when the guys don't approach you, think it not strange. Count it all joy. Because sometimes when they don't approach you, it's because they already know they can't play with you. They just can't. Men know who they can play with and they know who they can't. They know who they can string along and they know who they got to tighten up for. And if they mistakenly put you in the wrong category, you don't demand marriage. You choose yourself. At every table I sit at, I never have one choice. The only time I've ever had one choice in terms of sitting at a negotiation table was in salvation. God is the only wise God for me. Every other time, if I sit at the table and decide, okay, I'm going to be with you, you're going to be with me, I got another choice. It's me. I'm the choice. Because if you don't choose me, I will. So I choose you until you show me you ain't choosing me. And when you show me you ain't choosing me, I'm going to choose me. The answer is not to demand marriage. The answer is, I wish you well. But let me tell you the reason why many of us don't wish you well. Because we don't have enough faith in our presence. If you have faith in your presence and you know that you know that your set of shoes is too hard to fill, when you know that, you don't have no problem with giving somebody your absence when you know you got faith in your presence. When you know that you have done your job, when you know that, hey, I ain't gonna say I'm irreplaceable, but I'm gonna say, baby, it's gonna be a hard time for you to find that, because I know who I am. I know what I provide, and you might not see the value in it today, but once I do like this, you gonna miss me. But too many women don't have enough faith in their presence to gift somebody their absence, so they'll stay because they like, he ain't gonna miss me. You don't give him a chance to. Just saying. I ain't saying play games. Now I don't believe in games. But I also don't believe in nobody playing in your face. Don't no. We're not finna play them games. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Okay. So, undying loyalty will sometimes cause you to romanticize and mistake your reality and desire, and cause you to miss what you deserve. Undying loyalty. Undying loyalty. When you decide, I'm here, I'm a ride to the wheels fall. I'm not riding to no wheels fall off. I'm not. Because I shouldn't have to ride till the wheels fall off and nothing blow up. Y'all do that if y'all want to. I just feel like I shouldn't have to go through the fire to the limit. I shouldn't have to go. I shouldn't. Love shouldn't be a struggle all the time. Do we go through things? Absolutely. Absolutely, we go through things. You should expect love to be tested, because until love is tested, you're not sure if it's love. It could be pity. It could be trauma bonds, because certain things, lust feels like love. So, of course, but I shouldn't have to struggle with you having babies on me, punching me in the eye. That's struggle love to me, and that's some bull. I shouldn't have to deal with that. I already played them games when I was in my teens. And if I do now what I did in my teens, I done wasted a whole lot of time. And time is the most precious commodity that we have. We can't advance it, nor can we return it. All we have is right now, and we're simply managers of time. We're not even owners of time, because if we were owners of time, we'd know how much we have. So at the end of the day, why would I let you waste my time? Time is not like money. Time is life. So why would I let you waste my life? Why? 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 People get mad because you don't let them waste your life. Why? So number 3, she did not require marriage. She demanded. It's a total difference, ladies. You ain't got to demand marriage. The one who know is the one you want to marry you. You don't want to have to remind. You don't want the one you got to keep reminding of your value. You want the one who know off rip. When I got a proposal, he knew from day one. Like, this her. This is her right here. This her. This her. No deviation. This her. At the end of the day, when you're young, it's cool to go through different things, but let's stop settling for people that's not sure about us. If you're not sure, have a good day. 50 Cent said something. I did a video on this, and I said I was going to release the video, but 50 Cent said something the other day that did it for me. He said, when somebody on the fence, he push them on the other side. And baby, that blessed my soul. You hear me? That blessed my soul. I want to call Curtis Jackson. I ain't got his number, but I really want to call Curtis Jackson. He said, when somebody on the fence about me, I push them on the other side. Because, baby, if you ain't sure about me, I am. I am. And don't get me wrong, I'll sit and let you hang yourself. And as soon as you do, because I went to the table with somebody in mind, me. Don't demand marriage. Carry yourself in a way where he already know he can't play with you, and that's the goal. Number 4, her place in his heart was never solidified because of the unresolved issues with his mother, who, because of his need for her validation and her emotional manipulation, she often had first place. Ladies, you can't compete. You shouldn't have to compete. You shouldn't. You shouldn't have to compete with nobody. Not with mama, not with sister, not with daughter, not with nobody. You shouldn't have to compete. If there's not a spot for you, you got to let him go heal. You got to let him go heal. She was fighting the whole relationship with his mother. You're not going to ever win that because he need her validation. He need that little boy in him need her. So you're going to always fight her because he ain't going to never let her go because all the years he went to find her. He was trying to find her in finding her in crack houses. You ain't feeling, you can't compete with that. You shouldn't have to, but you can't. You can't. The little boy in him needs her, and she know it. And when somebody know you need them and they ain't healed, emotional manipulation all day long. Her place in his heart was never solidified. Never. Because of unresolved issues with his mother. Number 5, they had a trauma bond. Both of them were raised by their grandmothers. Usually when you see a person with a trauma bond, they had a lot in common. They had a lot in common. You was raised by your grandma. I was raised by my grandma too. Your mom was on crack. My mom was on crack too. They left me too. Trauma bonds feel like love. Lust feels like love. Pity feels like love. But when they get tested, you find no love. You find no love. Trauma bonds can mimic love in many instances. And I'm not saying that there was no love shared amongst them. I can't say that. But trauma bonds make it really easy to romanticize what you desire. So you overlook all of the stuff that's real and you romanticize the one little thing he did 7 years ago. That one time he just brought me flowers. He ain't brought you flowers in 24 years. But you still romanticizing that one time. How do I know that they had trauma bonds? They both struggled with arrested development, emotional stagnation. How do I know that? Hers showed through anger. If you go to YouTube right now and you put in Chrissy and you put in fighting, you're going to find clips and clips and clips of her fighting somebody. Now, sometimes they started it with her, but we are responsible for our responses. She went to 0. She would go from 0 to 100 quick. And I mean, she would get up and be ready. Anger. Anger. The seed of anger is rejection. Where did rejection come from? Mom and daddy dropped her off or mom and daddy lost her to grandma. Listen, when a child separates from her parents or a kid separate from their parents at a young age, once again, their minds are not ready to comprehend that because where's mama and daddy? Like, grandma, I love you, but where's mama and daddy? There's a whole layer of their life missing. Like, you just drop your child off or your child have to go over there because CPS then came. So now I got to live here with grandma. A whole layer of my life is missing. And when are they going to come and get me? So they're not going to ever come for me? They always say time heals a broken heart, but time can also break a waiting one. Imagine a child that's waiting on the parents to come back and get them from grandma and granddaddy house. No, they'll never come. Just saying. His show through shutdown. He just shut down and check out and then blow up. So after he's had enough, he'll shut down for a while, let them go, get high, go. After a while, look, and just blow up. Arrested development. We remain at the age that we were hurt worse emotionally until we heal. This is why we have a whole bunch of 50 and 60 years old in age, but they 12, they're 8, they're 6, they're 9, they're 16 emotionally. Why? Because that's when their hearts were broken to pieces. That's when their hearts were shattered. And nobody ever said, let's go to counseling. Why? Because back then, maybe you didn't do that. Many of the baby boomer parents didn't go to counseling. They went to their room, which they probably shared with 4 of 5 of their siblings. And they were told what happens in this house stays in this house. They ain't hurt you bad, did they? Oh, okay. I'm just saying. Just telling you what's the real. Number 6, by the time he proposed to her, she was over it. And she didn't want marriage because she was depleted. She done been carrying the whole relationship for years. And now he want to come propose. She like, I don't even want it now. The whole world done dogged me. The whole world has dogged me. And now you want to marry me? I don't want your funky ring. I don't want your funky ring now. I don't want your funky ring. Because now it's a settlement. But she didn't want to let him go either because of fear that he would move on and marry the next one. That's called the slot machine syndrome. I told you about the time I was in the casino. I was in the casino one time. And this was years ago. I was in the casino. I had $60 because I was like, sis ain't finna spend up a whole bunch of money. And I put my $20 bill in that machine, and baby, it ate that 20 up quick. And I was like, the devil is a lie. I bet you I'm finna sit here. And so I sat there, and every time that lady came past with some pop or something, I'm like, let me get one of them. Because I'm going to get my $20 worth. And there was a lady sitting over there. She was just rocking and rocking. And you done with that machine? Now, my mind ain't never say, if you keep on busting these drinks down, you're going to have to use the bathroom. So I'm sitting there. But every time she come past, let me have, I'm drinking. After a while, I got to use the bathroom. This lady over here just rocking and waiting on the machine. Same thing in relationships. We scared to get up because we scared the next person gonna hit. But here's what I tell all my clients, and here's what I tell myself. You can sit there forever. If it ain't for you to hit, you ain't gonna hit neither. You ain't gonna hit. So you'll sit there for 30 years and you ain't gonna hit. The next person come and hit in 2 months, 2 weeks. It don't matter. You can call yourself stopping something. You ain't stopping nothing. You're not. Nothing but your own blessings. Just saying. So she didn't care about his funky ring by the end. Now I don't know if he said it or somebody else said it, but he had commitment issues. And let me tell you this, that's consistent with abandonment. When somebody has been abandoned, they have issues with being commitment, not consistent issue. He had commitment issues. So you think a person want to commit if everybody who's supposed to love him and stay with him and protect him left him? Like, I'm not committed to nobody because I don't want to feel that pain no more. I don't want nobody else to leave me like that. When you are abandoned by one parent, that's hard. But when you abandoned by both parents, like both of them were, you get one of two responses. Okay, not all inclusive, other responses too. But the two we're talking about today is his response is, I ain't committing to nobody because I was abandoned by the two that was never supposed to leave me. They were supposed to protect me. So I'm not a fear. Fear came. Fear of commitment. But guess what? She was on the other end of the spectrum, right? She was on the other end of the spectrum because she was abandoned too by her parents. By her own admission. I got this off her bio, that she was separated from her parents and sent to her grandmother. So if she was sent to her grandmother, she was abandoned too, right? And so if she was abandoned, guess what? He got fear on this end. Guess what hers was? Undying loyalty. Because I never want nobody else to feel how I felt. Sound familiar? I never want nobody else to feel how I felt, when I was left. So I'm not going to leave him. So she got undying loyalty. And I'm never going to leave you. And he got, I'm scared. I'm never going to commit. Two ends of the spectrum. Two ends of the spectrum. Number 7, you never let the world in when your foundation is not solid. You never let the world in when your foundation is not solid. Listen, it is hard enough to safeguard your relationship when your foundation is solid. Okay? Because the enemy is roaming. He is roaming, and ready. Okay? So to let the world in, when you know that your foundation is already rocky and raggedy, is a recipe for disaster. Now you already fighting with his mama. You fighting him. Now you fighting with the opinions and interests of other people, and you dealing with emotional stress and pressure of not being married. This man not marrying you, like he won't marry you. And now you got to deal with the emotional stress and strain of all these people saying, she didn't propose him, he still won't marry her. I don't care how strong you are. It's going to eventually get to you. And then further, ain't no way his mother should have known that much about their business when she ain't even the type of mother that grab their hand and say, let's pray. No, she on TV telling all their business. She proved that she was not a safe place for them because of her own brokenness. You know what I'm saying? Yet because of his need for validation and that little boy in him desiring what he missed, she was the third strand of a cord instead of God. And that never, ever works. So Chrissy was familiar, but she didn't bring him peace. Sometimes a person can be familiar, but they don't bring you peace. You see in them what you may have once desired, or you see in them what you've seen all the time, but your heart is like, but that's not what I want. He see his mother in her, but his mother don't bring him peace neither. I believe a man settles where he finds peace, but what he calls peace can be different. See, because when he's the Bible said when I was a child, I walked like a child, spake like a child, I did childish things, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. So as a child, what looks peaceful, what looks, what you go after is one thing, but then when you become a man, what you find peaceful is different. This is why it's important for us to be careful when somebody's in transition, because if they in the middle, they might like a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but then when they land, their definition is going to change. And so Christy was familiar, but she didn't bring him peace. And a man settles where he finds peace, so that's why he never settled. He never settled. He never was grounded in her. He never shared and experienced with her. It was like Jim and then Chrissy. It was never Jim and Chrissy like that. You know what I'm saying? Not as far as I could see. And when I watched videos and all this type of stuff, I just didn't see the cohesiveness. She had a spirit like his mother. She was loyal. And let me tell you something. Loyalty to a person with the fear of commitment is like you hunting them down with a gun because they scared of you. So think about a person who's fearing commitment and you over here saying, I want a commitment. I'm loyal. I'm loyal. I'm loyal. I'm loyal. I'm loyal. You chasing after them and they running for their lives because they're like, I don't want to commit. And that's what they did for 20 years. For 20 years. She was saying, I'm going to give you more of what you're afraid of. I'm going to be loyal. I'm going to give you super loyalty. I'm going to be here. And he's like, back up. You want too much. I'm scared. Fear commitment. Chrissy is a very talented, beautiful, intelligent, charismatic woman. And it is my hope that if she and Jim are done for good, that she will heal and set her heart in the palm of God's hand and heed to his lead on who to give it to and who to give herself next. After all, God made her and everyone else, and who else better to pick on your behalf? I'd rather God pick for me because he made me and everybody, whoever he gonna pick for me, he made them too. He know what's best. As for Jim, if he and Chrissy are done and he is with Brooke and he married Brooke, I pray that he learns from the mistakes of the time that he was with Chrissy and does it better this time around. I pray his heart finds peace and healing too, so that he will no longer have to find an escape from the life. Listen, I ain't never seen so many people that got to be high every day to live. You got to get high every day? Every day? Mind altering drugs are for people who don't like what's on their mind. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people say, I just needed to relax. You needed to relax. You needed to relax. Now, sometimes if you want it, that's one thing, but you needed to relax. I know people who can't eat without weed. They can't sleep. They can't function. It's like, that's not, what is wrong? What is wrong when we need an escape from a life that we are creating every day? You are a sum total of the decisions that you keep making. So why is it that you need an escape from your life every day? Make some different decisions. Make some changes. It's okay to say, you're not for me no more. I'm not for you no more. Let me figure out where I'm going to move to. Let me figure something out, because if I got to have a drink every day, if I got to have a smoke every day, somebody got to get out of here. Somebody got to go. Something got to give. Something got to move. Something got to shift. I can't have to be drunk every day. It is such an insult to me if a man got to be drunk and high every day to be around me. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Because I'm not happy with that. No, thank you. No, thank you. That is an alarm. Every day that's an alarm going off. He's not happy. Because if a man is happy, he don't need an escape. Every day. May God bless all parties involved. And I pray that he is able to one day be sober, be happy enough to be sober so he can enjoy the life that he's worked so diligently to create. Let's not put a magnifying glass on their lives, but let's look and find where we are in these situations, because it's easy for us to sit up and talk about them and talk about Chrissy and she should have did this and she should have did that. But what about what you should have done? What about the situation we don't know about of yours? But for the grace of God, there go I, or but for the grace of God, it was me. I'll be the first one to say, baby. Okay. But nonetheless, my point to you today is time is the most precious commodity that we have. One of the biggest questions is, do I go or do I stay? And sometimes we're like, I don't want to go, and then I could have worked on it, but I don't want to stay and waste all my time. Let me offer you the best advice ever. Get with the one who owns the time. Get with the one who has all time in his hands. And guess what? He'll tell you when to go and he'll tell you when to stay. Because I remember Montel Jordan wife. Montel Jordan was out here 6'8". He stood. This is how we do it. He was doing it with everybody. He was having menages and all that. Beautiful wife, gorgeous wife, still out there slanging meat slanger. His wife was devastated. And she said, I prayed to the Lord, and the Lord told her, stay. See, people are always talking that if you cheat, I'm leaving. Don't get me wrong. You could say it's a deal breaker, but sometimes God will be like, sit down. And if you bought with a price, sit down. Because one thing about God, he's a good father. And let me tell you what he ain't going to do. He ain't going to tell you to sit down and he ain't finna deal with him. If God tell you sit down, I'm finna handle it, don't say nothing. Woe unto the one he finna go see about. Woe unto the one he finna go see about. You understand me? Because it ain't finna be pretty. Because he finna check. He finna check him. And if he tell you to sit down, today, Montel Jordan and his wife are, I think, youth pastors. They tour and talk to people about relationships and all that. I don't know what the Lord said to Montel Jordan, but Montel Jordan got it together as far as I know. Go to the one who got all time in his hand, and he'll tell you whether to leave or stay. He'll tell you when to go. He'll tell you when to stay. He'll tell you what to do. You understand what I'm saying? But the point is, ladies, stop taking the lead if you ain't going to keep the lead. Stop expecting him to be this and that. If you start off leading, keep leading. Keep leading. But if you going to shoot your shot, don't empty the clip and then get mad when ain't no artillery. None at all. So that's my take. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let me know what your take is on it. Did you think this deep into it? I was kind of amazed when I started digging, because I was like, "Ooh, this is kind of interesting. This is, oh wow." But I look at things from a sociological perspective, because that's where I study patterns, right? So that's where my education is. I study patterns, and so it's not just a clean cut and dry situation where he just didn't want to marry her because of this or that. No, that's not true. He's wounded. When somebody is wounded and triggered, they hear wounded eyes, triggered ears. They don't hear right and they don't see right. So where he going to lead you to? Where is he going to lead you? You understand what I'm saying? We got to go get help. It's okay to heal. That's why we have the safe space with Zakiya Monique. Come get some healing. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about doing a soul ties class. I'm going to reboot it. I'm thinking about rebooting it. Who's interested in that? Let me know if you're interested in the soul ties class. I'm going to reboot the one that I have and talk about soul ties. And I might also throw a little teaching in there about twin flames, because we need to understand that twin flames ain't it, okay? And soulmates. So we might talk about soulmates, soul ties, and twin flames and all that type of stuff in this new class. I didn't talk about it in the old class, but let me know if that's something that you're interested in, and I'll definitely put it together for you, and it'll be free. It'll be free. It might be free because people don't show up for stuff that's free. It ain't about money to me per se, but folks don't tend to show up for stuff that's free. But then as soon as you pay for something, then all of a sudden they like, oh, I'll come to that, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. So yeah, so let me know what you think. Again, let's pray for them. Let's pray for Chrissy. Let's pray for Jim Jones. Let's not just talk about them. Celebrities are just like us. They just got a little fame, extra little money, and a camera in their face all the time. That's all. All right, so I hope this was helpful. Y'all know how I roll. I love y'all so very much, and I want you to have a great evening. You already know how, on purpose. God bless you.